My name is Kim Barker, and I want to give my husband a shout out, Greg Barker. He helps me with some post production after the fact, so I want to thank him for that. Next slide, please. And I want to know today. Well, first of all, this saying just really stood out to me, and for some of us, it's winter. One kind word can warm 3 months, 3 winter months. So hopefully, we'll be using some kind words to help warm those who have winter right now. Um, but if you could just give a shout out or put in the chat where you are in the world today. I know.
Geographically.
Yeah, geographically. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Roland. We have Seattle. We have Austin, Texas. Hi, Wendy. We have South Africa. We have Washington, D.C. We have Fowlerville, Michigan. We have Massachusetts, California, Florida, Ohio, LA, Bath, UK, uh, Princeton, New Jersey, Brooklyn, New York, Nigeria, South Africa. Wow. Wow. Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And I want to welcome you. We will be, well, we are recording this and we will be sending out a link to be able to watch it after the fact too, since I know that there's just going to be so much good information in this webinar today. I also am wondering, what perspective do you bring today? If you could put that in the chat. Are you a student? Are you a practitioner? Are you an academic? Are you a pracademic? Are you are you an HR? Are you a consultant? What perspective do you bring today in this webinar? I see we have some students, we have some consultants and coaches, recent students, full-time consultants and students, um, teachers, consultants, human resources. Wonderful. Part of Worldsview Academy, an OD school, a pracademic, yes, chief learning officer at a large nonprofit. Hello, Bill. PhD, scholar, consultant. Wow, thank you, everyone. Recent grad school grad embarking in OD consulting work. So wonderful. Thank you. Roland, if you could go to the next slide. I just really want to introduce you to one of my favorite people on the planet, Dr. Roland Livingston. He has been such a mentor to me over the years, and I'm just so grateful to have him in my life. And I know many of you are as well. Dr. Livingston is an OD consultant and educator. He has more than 25 years experience. Um, maybe a little more than that too, right? His experience focuses primarily on the areas of leadership, team effectiveness, executive coaching, culture, management development processes, and services. He has provided coaching for key leaders in for-profit and non-profit profit environments, and he has directed human resource and labor relations activities in the businesses which he works. He is currently an adjunct at American University, Colorado Technical University, and he's a faculty member at the Center for Creative Leadership. Dr. Livingston has been an active member of several organizations and societies, including the immediate past president of ISODC. We've put Dr. Livingston's email here. He loves to be contacted. Feel free to email him at any point in the future. And I'm now going to turn it over to you, Roland.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you, Kim. Kim, are you recording?
I am recording. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I didn't, I
Thank you
just wanted to
for,
be sure.
yes, thank you for that.
Well, welcome everyone. I am delighted to be with you today and to share with you some of my thinking on strategies for developing one's personal career strategy, the importance of personal branding, and the importance of networking as you seek to figure out what it is that you want to do when you grow up. Career strategies for OD&C Scholar-Practitioner is the heading of this webinar. I've got a series of slides I'm going to go through. As Kim said, feel free to put questions in the chat box. She's going to be monitoring that. And I will be coming to breaks between the three sections, which will give us an opportunity to address those questions, unless Kim says, no, stop, Roland, address this question now. So with that, let me launch into developing your personal career strategy. And as you think about this, what I suggest, and Kim has indicated that you come from multiple perspectives, meaning that you are doing a variety of things. Those of you who are in attendance are doing a variety of things. But take a step back from wherever you are in your current life, your current situation as a student or as an internal or external practitioner or an educator, and think about the outcome that you wish to achieve. And as you do so, ask yourself some questions. What do I want to do today? What do I want to do tomorrow? Am I stuck in a rut? Am I feeling purposeless? What really is my goal? What are my intentions? What are my red lines for what I want for myself? What will I do and what will I not do? What are my red lines? Now, there may be some answers that I can suggest to you for these questions, but these are just an example to get your brain going. And they may include things like, I really want to spend more time with my family, or I want to increase my earnings to a specific amount. And I think it's important to be specific. What salary are you after? What will make you comfortable? Um, or you may say that what I really want to do is to reduce my working hours, or I want to reduce my stress, or I want to do more of a particular work activity or less of a particular work activity. So those are some example answers to the questions that you see on this slide. But the point is, once you understand your desires and your red lines, what you aren't prepared to do, to compromise on, what you are prepared to compromise on, if anything, and the goals which are more fluid to fit around your red lines and the reality of work, it can become clearer to you as to where you want to go. But I would say, don't worry. Don't worry if you don't immediately know the perfect job title that fits your list. Many people today, many of us all today, end up creating a role for ourselves, whether that's in our current organization or somewhere else, or by becoming an entrepreneur. But the important thing to understand what you want from your career is to first be true to yourself and understand what you really want. Then you can begin to develop your strategy to achieve those goals. So, understanding what you want from your career is the first step toward developing a personal career strategy. Let me see if I can make my slides go. I think I did. Yep.
You did.
Okay. So, what are the benefits of having a personal career strategy? Having one will help you to know when to say yes to something, even if you don't really want to do it, even if you really don't like the idea of doing it. Will also help you to know when to say no, even if you want to say yes. Your strategy will help your decision making so that it fits around your goals and your intentions. That doesn't mean that you have to say yes and no based on your strategy solely, but having a strategy and then being able to really think about what are the things that are going to help you to achieve that strategy will give you a better understanding of the consequences of the decisions that you make in saying yes or no to something that you are presented with. One of the things that I find in discussing strategy with people, I sometimes hear people say a little bit of, it sometimes sounds like, I hate my job or something akin to that.
Mhm.
But often from people who also feel stuck in their job for a variety of reasons, they it, demonstrate an uneasiness that is almost palpable. So, since you're here today, you're likely to be the kind of person who is successful and ambitious already, probably even more so than you know. Um, but if you're in a situation where you feel stuck in your job or where you hate your job, what if you could move past this feeling? What if you could pinpoint what's wrong with the current situation and figure out how to change it or move on in a way that's compatible with your very real life restrictions? Wouldn't that be a good place to be? Uh,
I think
what
so.
what I think is that whether you want to stay in the role you are currently, but find it more rewarding, you want to find it more rewarding, or maybe you have ambitions that you don't quite yet know how to fulfill. Uh, you probably need some goals and a personal career strategy. But before you do that, you need to understand what it is that you want to change. So, how do you start? Sometimes this is the hardest question to answer. How do I get started? Um, let's take a look.
Roland,
Yeah.
Dr. Simona had an incredible question. She said, um, how do you decide what networking organizations to join? How has your membership in those organizations helped advance your consulting practice?
I'm going to be talking about networking in the third section of
Okay.
the time that we have together here.
Mhm.
But I will answer that question at this juncture by simply saying, think about the kind of people that you want to be associated with. Are those people in the organization that you might be considering as a networking organization for yourself? Join that one, see how it works.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mhm.
So let's take a look at how we can get beyond understanding the barriers that one might be facing. Most of the time, if you're thinking about where you want to go next, or you are asking others about how they got there, that there may be something that's stopping you. So, what is your current situation? Is it just not where you want to end up, but it's good enough for now, or is there something that's fundamentally wrong? And you can start by asking yourself some of the other questions that are on this slide. What are the salient factors that are getting in the way? What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And write down what comes to mind. Write down the good and the bad. Once you have your fears and obstacles written down where you can see them, then ask yourself, what do you really need to change to get past any barrier in your career? Is there a problem? If so, what have you tried to do to solve it? What else could you do to try and solve that problem? What is your desired positive outcome for solving the problem or the barrier that seems to be in your way? So understanding what the barriers are that you face is an important step in moving forward toward developing a personal career strategy. And then do a bit of reflection. Ask yourself, what are you good at? And write down everything that you're good at. What do you enjoy doing? What do you love to do? Even when you're procrastinating, it may be that you discover that something that you love to do when you're procrastinating is really a subconscious way of telling yourself that this is really what I enjoy doing. And I need to figure out how to do more of that. What do you already have experience in? This can be anything from a hobby that you have, or some side project that you may have been assigned in your current job, or something that you got a glimpse of while you were in school, and you were your brain may have been tickled by it, but you didn't figure out that it was something that you should pursue. Again, at this point, don't worry about the outcome. This is a time to just reflect and to brainstorm and think about what's going to make you feel happy and fulfilled and passionate about what you do. Now, if you know the job you want to be in, that's fantastic. And you're ready to figure out the goals and you're going to set some goals that are going to help you to get there. But I know that many of us don't know where we want to be. You might have a few ideas, but you just aren't sure. In an ideal world, we might meet someone doing the job that we wanted to do and be inspired by that person. If you uh, have met such a person in your life, uh, you might consider yourself fortunate. I know for myself that there were a couple of individuals whom I met as I began to move out of organizational life as a full-time employee in organizations and into organization development consulting and educating. I saw people who were doing something that I felt like that's what I really want to be doing, and I was encouraged enough to pursue that and to move in that direction. So instead of just kind of blue skying things, it's time at this point to try and figure out, is it worth considering that there is something else that you enjoy and why that's important to you? And then you can you can move forward and begin to make some plans. Now, if you already know where you want to go, that's fantastic. and because now's the time to figure out what goals you need in order to get there. If you don't know yet, then your first thing should be to identify some goals, figuring out what type of role you want to be in, and then set some specific goals that are going to help you to get there. I would imagine that many of you are familiar with SMART goals, goals that are specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. Writing down some goals for yourself that will help to stretch you and help you to get out of your comfort zone are some of the first steps in moving toward a more fulfilling career. It is also worth having a personal mission statement. Goals are great, uh, but what are they moving you toward in terms of a mission statement? Um, a good mission statement guides you in your decision making about the goals that you want to set. If you know what type of person you want to be, you'll be better equipped to make some decisions along the way.
Yay, I love that. I think every person should have their own mission, vision, and values.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, but it's important to make sure that as you identify goals, you want to understand how you're going to fulfill those goals. For example, you see here, I say, if you need to meet 10 people, 10 program managers, shall we say, your strategy should focus on how am I going to meet those people? The question that was posed earlier about networking organizations, that might be a place to go to begin to meet some people who are doing the kinds of things that you think you want to do. So your strategy should focus on how to meet such people, where to go to meet these people, conferences, online discussion groups, etc. How will you use yourself to engage with them so that you can begin to get a sense of what it is that they do that might be aligned with what you're thinking about in terms of your own strategy? Your mission statement and your strategy are starting points for developing a career roadmap. And then you have to take action. The important thing to keep in mind here is that although you have a strategy, it should be fluid, it should be flexible, and not solely locked in such a way that if you deviate to the right or to the left, that it knocks you off course in such a way that you don't reach your ultimate goal. So have a strategy, but it should be fluid. Surround yourself with the right people, people who are inspiring. It's also important to realize and recognize that none of us can do everything. So be cautious about overcommitting so that you don't get overwhelmed, and then start working toward the roadmap that's going to take you on the journey toward your personal career goals. So we're at
Oh,
that point, Kim, where I'm going
so
to take a planned break for for questions that may have come in.
I have to say, we've had many people have said they would like a copy of your VUCA article. Can we send out a PDF version of that?
My VUCA article.
Yes.
Uh,
OD,
yes.
the future of OD in a VUCA world.
Yeah, sure. By all
Okay,
means. Yeah.
awesome.
Do you have
And
a copy of it, Kim?
um,
If you don't, I'll make sure you get
I,
one.
I'm sure I do, but yeah, let's collaborate on that.
Okay.
Also, Doten is asking, first of all, he says, I'm fulfilling some of these questions and I find it interesting. I'm happy having them reiterated. How do you create more opportunities in Africa and success for upcoming things? Uh, we're still actively navigating the field in Africa where one wants to go amid limited opportunities.
That's a tough question to answer.
Mm.
uh, I think the way that I would respond to that is that there are probably opportunities that simply haven't been um, approached in a way, and I'm assuming. I mean, I shouldn't make any assumptions, but I'm imagining that what Dotun is asking is about organization development consulting opportunities. Is that the gist of the question?
Mm, possibly.
Yes, yes. That's the
Okay.
question. That's the
Okay.
question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
So, I mean, it starts with understanding what kind of change challenges an organization may be presenting, and figuring out how, as an individual or with a perhaps a partner or a small consulting um, group, um, that you might be able to approach the potential clients in that organization,
Mm.
and find out what it is that they feel they need help with, that you can help them to explore using organization development and change, a
Oh,
change
If you would,
process.
if
that's
you would
such good
permit me a
advice.
minute, can I just make a comment? Just a minute, please.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you very much. If you look at this part of Africa, in terms of structures and designs, organizational designs and others, uh, these have not been fully embraced by quite a number of organizations. Most of them rather prefer, okay, maybe just run a training for us. But as we begin to suggest further that you need more than just a training, I recently completed a project with British Council, a 3-month OD project. And then in working with most of these organizations, when it gets to the point of letting them understand that you need OD, so they sometimes see it as cost and not a necessity, or they just want something very brief and then like training and then they're gone. But knowing further that they need more than that in Africa. For example, in the last few months, more than 40 microfinance banks have closed shops, and we are having quite a number of businesses dying. Between 1980 and 2000, 50,000 corporate organizations have gone down in Nigeria alone. So when we see all these challenges that are affecting our local organization SMEs, we know that they need OD, that we strengthen the roles of SMEs, but we are having a lot of challenges with corporate organizations embracing, accepting, and aligning the role of OD to help them come back fully and to structure and to performance. That's why I raised that question, sir. Thank you.
Many organizations, unfortunately, don't understand organization development change process as a value added process. And so they see it, as you indicated, Doton, as a cost. And their desire is to try and fix something that they're feeling is a problem, and they want to, and they want that problem to be fixed. Organization development and change doesn't come with a fix per se. It comes with it is a process whereby the organization and the organization's members, with the help of internal or external uh, consulting partners, identify the problem and come up with solutions that can, well, solutions, come up with a process that will help to address the challenge that they're facing. And it needs to be seen as a value add as opposed to simply a cost.
Right.
How that happens really requires a mindset shift that the OD practitioner, using his or her influence, um, helps to come about within that organization. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that when I talk about the next section of this webinar, which is personal branding.
I
Um,
think we should get started, Roland.
all right. Well, then let me do that. Let me go there because personal branding is important in helping the organization to see that what you bring is something that's going to be a value add, not simply a cost to them that's going to line your pockets, as it were, at their expense. So let's think about, now that you've developed a personal career strategy, this is where having a personal brand then becomes important, because as you start to go through the stages of creating a personal brand, you begin to get a sense of just what it is that you want to have others see in you as being something that adds value to what they have as a need. You might say to yourself, as you go through even the thought process of creating a personal brand, that wow, how do I do that? You know, and it's easy to get overwhelmed. But before you kind of just dismiss this, and you know, just step back and take a deep breath,
Mm.
because what I'd like for you to consider is this: personal branding. When we talk about it, what we're referring to is establishing and promoting what you stand for. It's the conscious and intentional effort to create and influence, and that's a key word, influence public perception of you by positioning yourself as an authority in your field. And your field is organizational development, process consulting, shall we say. And it also is a way to elevate your credibility. It's a way to differentiate you from others who may be seeking to do the same thing or to offer the same service, and ultimately to advance your career. You want to be able to increase your circle of influence, and in so doing, look for ways to have a larger impact. That's what personal branding is really all about. And there are a lot of great tools that you can go to and resources that will help you with a personal branding process. You can go online and look for such things, but this is what I'd like to share with you. Um, we're used to thinking about branding in relationship to companies, thinking about organizations like McDonald's or Apple.
Mhm.
But nowadays, anything can be a brand. Even as an individual, you already have a personal brand, whether you know it or not. You have a brand that exists both on and offline. Both on and offline. The idea of personal branding makes some people uncomfortable. But here's the point: if you don't take control of your personal brand, in particular, if you don't take control of your personal brand online, then you're missing out on opportunities for letting other people know about you and what you are doing by not taking control of your personal brand. You are allowing others to control the narrative about you without any input from you. Why would you want to do that?
Right.
So, why personal branding matters is what you see here. When it comes to building a personal brand, don't dismiss it as being something that's time consuming or not that important. It is important. And you will have to devote some time and some energy into building your brand properly. But the idea that building a personal brand is not important is just false. It's false. And here's why: people are Googling you at every stage of your career. You already have a brand. It's out there, whether you have looked at it yourself or not. So when you're
Mhm.
building your brand, it may start to feel like a job as you do this. But I want you to remember that it's an essential part of cultivating your career.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that the greatest investment of resources, time and effort, will likely come in the very, come up front. It may mean that you have to go online and Google yourself and take a look at all of the things that are out there and do an assessment of how useful they are, how important they are, how accurate they are, how timely they are. Is there information there about you on Google that other people are seeing that is no longer useful or valid? If you don't clean up your online presence, someone else will simply take what they see and make use of it, which may not be to your advantage. Building and optimizing new profiles, generating content about you and about the kind of work that you do, identifying your goals and making those clear to others so that they have some idea as to what it is that you stand for, um, helps you to build a brand strategy. And I know that this can feel overwhelming, but once you've established a strong foundation for yourself, you'll have a roadmap to follow, and others will have a clearer picture of who you are, how you want to be seen, and it will be something that you've created yourself as opposed to something that someone else has conjured up just simply based on what they have found about you online. You want to distinguish yourself from your competitors. You want to take control of your personal brand. Think about building your brand as an ongoing process.
Mhm.
Um, you don't have to go from being an inactive Facebook user to a top influencer on Snapchat, but you have to think about um, the kinds of things that are going to make you stand out. It isn't an overnight process, and the objectives and the specifics are going to be different for each one of you. Those of you who are wanting to build a brand as an internal OD practitioner are going to be focusing the things that you want others to see about you um, in such a way that your internal clients, potential clients, have access to that. If it's working as an external consultant, then make sure that that's what is uh, being marketed, if you will, as you identify yourself online. Uh, Other work that you have had done successfully with clients um, uh, should be a part of what you identify um, in your in your online presence, so that those satisfied clients can be uh, individuals or organizations who will attest to the fact that what you do is to bring value add as opposed to simply being a cost. This is not an overnight process, and the objectives and the specifics will look different for everyone. Um, there's a website that I've shown here that you can use to help you think about building your brand and about personal branding specifically. And I encourage and invite you to go to that website. Kim, you're going to make these slides available, I'm assuming, right? So that folks
Yes.
will have access to that website.
Yep, as well as the recording. Yes.
Great, great. All right. So developing your personal brand is important. And I just, I know that we're going to be running out of time here. So let me just move on. Why you should care about building a personal brand. People don't do business with companies. They do business with people that they like.
Mm.
They have relationships based on trust and mutual connections. There's just something about a connection with a human being that creates a level of comfort, a level of endearment, a level of customer loyalty that goes beyond any relationship that a company could ever reach. The strong bonds that people have with one another simply cannot be overlooked. So just think about this. Apple had Steve Jobs, Tesla has Elon Musk, Virgin has Richard Branson, Amazon has Jeff Bezos. Even big companies such as these have personalities who serve to advance their brand's mission, the mission of the organization. Those personalities, Jobs, no longer with us, regrettably, Elon Musk, Branson, Bezos, they represent and are used to help leverage what it is that their organizations offer because of the way that they are seen and viewed in the marketplace. Most people are interested in following other people more so than following specific companies. So building an audience for your personal brand can actually help to increase exposure for your company, your small consulting firm. If you're working inside of an organization where you are an internal consultant, you want to be the person who is the go-to person in your organization. Why shouldn't you be the go-to person? Even if you work for a company as an employee, there's no reason why you shouldn't build your own personal brand. One of the things about personal branding is that people like Elon Musk, for example, big name. Tesla is a big name, but would you know that Elon Musk has more Twitter followers than 3 times his companies?
Wow.
The same thing is true for Richard Branson. He has more followers than Virgin, the company that he heads up. So the fact that they have such uh, pull is an important indicator of the value of a personal brand. And as I said, if you work inside of an organization, you already have a brand. Um, Even in your organization, there are people who are seen as the go-to person. Why shouldn't that be you? If you're an educator, and I know this, and some of you who are teachers probably know this too, you are branded. Students know which professor they want to take a course with, and it's because of the brand that you have developed for yourself. Hopefully, it's a brand that says that you bring good value beyond a grade for those students, and that you can be counted on to help them learn something that they hadn't thought about previously. So personal branding and OD consulting go hand in hand. There are many revered names in the field of organization development. People like Edgar Schein or Barbara Bunker or Charles and Edie Seashore and many others. They each had and continue to have considerable influence as scholar practitioners. Their brand draws people to their work, to things that they've written about, um, to work that they're currently doing in the field. So think about your personal brand. What kind of shape is it in? Does it need a bit of brushing up? Are you being as influential as you would like to be? And you see here, I've put another website that you can check out when you're thinking about personal branding and thinking about personal branding as influence marketing.
Mm.
Um, this website will take you to a place where you can get some insight into that that will help you to enhance your own personal branding. Let me stop there for a moment.
Roland, um, Dr. Simona wants to know if you can give an example of your personal brand on and offline.
My personal brand.
Mm. Yeah, or a personal brand, both on and offline.
Your online personal brand is what is already out there.
Mm.
It is what people see when they Google your name. It's what people see when they search for you on LinkedIn, on
Mhm.
Facebook, on Twitter. Uh, Everything that is online represents you in ways that you may not have even thought about. And that's why I said, as I did in the beginning, that it's important to know what is out there so that you can control the information that other people see. As far as offline is concerned, that will be determined by the kind of marketing, I'll use the phrase marketing material that you have created or developed for yourself. If you are an external consultant, for example, do you have a small trifold brochure that describes who you are and who your firm, what your firm is all about, what kind of clients you serve and have served successfully, um, testimonials from clients, both online as well as offline, are helpful in developing that brand. And certainly, you want to have the testimonials be ones that go beyond what a Yelp review would say, if
Mhm.
you will. uh, but those are the kinds of ways that I think online and offline you can develop. You can show what your brand is.
Roland, and I hope I say this name correctly, uh, Fructuoso says he thinks the traditional ways of thinking about networking, i.e. in person, can be a barrier in and of itself. He has found it very useful to network via LinkedIn, reaching out to his current contacts to connect him with others and events like this, no matter what the distance. He
Hmm.
still gets to see people via Zoom.
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Hmm.
think that's a great reminder.
That is true. Yeah, very much so. In the world that we're living in today, with well, the fact that we're doing this via Zoom, um, if you have not already done so as a part of your presence here today, make sure that other people know who you are. If you want to make a connection,
Mhm.
you may find that is something that's been put into the chat box that has attracted your attention. If so, make the connection with that person.
Yes.
Being intentional about networking is important. Networks don't just happen by you showing up.
Mhm.
It's important, and I'm going to use this as a segue to to move into talking about networking.
I do, can I just say, Donna says, I love that you encourage to create our own now, excuse me, our own narrative. This is an empowering action and she is on it.
Great, great, great.
Yes.
Uh, so so we're sliding quickly into talking about networking and how important it is to collaborate with others. Um, what is networking? We might think about networking as a collection of computers and mainframes and all that other good stuff. The internet is an example of a network. It connects millions of people all over the world, just as we're doing right now. But that's just one definition of networking, and it's not the one that we're interested in here, but it does provide some useful analogies for us to think about. Um, we also look at networking as the interaction between people, and having a well-established network is very important, both in our professional life as well as in our personal life. The easiest way to build or expand your network, you see it here: family, friends, classmates, colleagues, acquaintances, other folks who are attending a webinar that you may be attending. And how do you know that those people might be important to you? It may very well be because of something that they have raised as a question in the chat box that sparks your interest. Being intentional about building a network, you might then reach out and say, "Hey, I saw that something you put in the chat box, and it sparked my attention. I really have an interest in what you said there, and I really want to find out a little bit more about it." But opening yourself up in a way that is inviting is an important part of building a network. Does it actually work? Does networking actually work? My sense is that it does. In fact, I know that it does. I have been doing organization development consulting and teaching for, Kim said I've been in the field for 25 years. Half of add another 20 or 25 to those, and that's how long I've been doing what I've been doing, simply by using a network. When I got involved, when I left corporate America and got involved in organization development and consulting and teaching, I didn't build a website. I didn't put together a fancy brochure. I did develop a name for my consulting practice, and I did develop a tagline for what it is that I do. And it is it is shown on my business card. And I still do use a business card, even though today we're doing everything, electronically. But the business card is something that I can hand to someone, and they take it and they put it into their electronic database, as I do when I receive their card. So, but networking is what I did to begin to let other people know who I am, what I do, why I'm interested in doing this work, and oh, by the way, how can I be of help to you? So the importance of networking is that it helps you to build relationships with other people, and it takes time to build relationships, and it takes intentionality. And if you're ready to put in both the time and the effort, I can tell you that networking works.
Mm.
I have never had a website. I have never done any specific marketing. I have never been without work, however, because I have a network that I tap into, and I provide uh, information and ideas to others in my network as I solicit information and ideas from them, and I connect others to work that may come my way that I'm not able to do, and they in turn bring me in to help them with work that they may be doing where someone else may be needed, or another pair of hands, or an idea may be needed. So it does actually work, and I'm a living proof of the fact that networking works. At least I feel that I am.
I do want to say though, I think it's important to acknowledge that it doesn't happen overnight, creating your network,
Absolutely, it does not,
right?
and I say that very, very pointedly here on this
Yeah,
slide. It
yeah,
takes time,
Yeah.
It takes effort. You have to be ready to put in both the time and the effort.
Yep.
And if you are, it works.
Hmm. Absolutely.
So why is it so hard? Why is it so hard? The reason it's hard is because we're self-involved people. It's all about me. The average person tends to think of his or her own needs first. We are so self-involved that we eh, feel a little uneasy sometimes in reaching out or in letting someone else in, if you will, to what it is that we are all about. And being a self-involved person is natural. It's a survival mechanism. It has its own uses. But with networking, being a self-involved person, that mechanism tends to be an obstruction that hurts your networking efforts. You don't have to reveal everything that there is to know about yourself, but you do have to let people know some things about you. You do have to let people know what your values and beliefs are. And you might also, well, not might, you do need to be interested in hearing what other people's values and beliefs are, because as you share that kind of information, you then have the opportunity to make a decision, a determination as to whether or not this is someone whom you feel that you can support and whom you feel will support you. And that is an important aspect of networking. It is about support for others and support for yourself. So what I really want to emphasize about networking is the importance of giving to your network so that you can also receive from your network, if that makes sense.
It does. Someone made the comment that they have a hard time having the confidence to put themselves out there.
Mm, hmm.
How do you navigate networking in the current climate? If you do not navigate now, is it lost opportunities to wait until networking can be in person again? I would say yes.
Yes, you would say it's a lost opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I would agree. It is.
Yeah.
It is a lost opportunity, and confidence. One of the things about networking is it requires a willingness to be vulnerable,
Mm.
and it's hard for some people to allow themselves to be vulnerable. My mantra has been, and you may have heard this from other places, so I'm not saying that I own this, but feel the fear and do it anyway.
Mm. I love that.
That means when you go to the next conference that you go to, uh, well, let's stay with the world that we're living in right now. We're in a virtual world, so you may go to a virtual conference. In that virtual conference, feel the fear and put your thoughts out there in a chat box. Raise a provocative question
Yeah.
and just let it hang out there. You might be surprised what kind of response you get. If it's an in-person opportunity and you go to a conference and the room is full of people, 30, 40, 50 people in the room, you don't know anyone in the room, feel the fear and walk in the door and hold your hand out to the first person you meet and introduce yourself.
Absolutely. One thing I've done is every time I attend a conference, I try to put in to present at it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm there anyway, so I might as well do it. And I'm telling you, the first couple times I just thought I was going to die when I had to get up to present. But it's like riding a bike, and
Yeah.
I get nervous every time before I public speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it never goes away for me, but it does get easier each time you do it.
So feel the fear and do it anyway. It's hard. We know it's hard. It's human nature for many people to really think of themselves first, but that oftentimes gets in our way and hurts our ability to network. So here's the benefit of networking. One of the benefits: exchanging information, exchanging information on challenges and experiences and goals. It gives you the opportunity to gain new insights, things that you might not have otherwise thought of. Um, and offering your ideas, offering your ideas is an excellent way to build your reputation, build your brand as
Mhm.
an innovative thinker. Okay. Those are some of the benefits of networking. And I would say to you, as I think we're getting down toward the end of
I know
our
we
time.
are. I
Let me let,
just,
let me
it's so
just quick
good, Roland.
let me just quickly go through these last couple of slides, because uh, uh, I want you to think about networking as something that you can love, learn to love it,
Mm,
and you can overcome an aversion to networking by focusing on learning. Most people have a dominant motivational focus, and I say focus on learning. If you adopt a mindset of promotion rather than prevention, promoting yourself rather than preventing others from knowing about you, then you will begin to see networking as an opportunity for discovery and for learning rather than a chore. Identify common interests. The next step in making networking more palatable is to think about your interests and your goals and align those with people you meet.
right.
Seek to align your interests with the interests of people whom you meet, and how that can help you to forge meaningful working relationships, which may, in some instances, develop into excellent personal relationships. Think broadly about what you can give. Even when you don't share an interest with someone, you can probably find something valuable to offer by thinking beyond the obvious.
Mm,
Okay. So think broadly about what you can give. Sometimes people who see themselves as lower ranked or having less power than others, marginalized people, people like minorities, women, handicapped, often feel marginalized and feel as though they have mm, uh, um, less power than others, but they often have something that others can gain from. And so, if you think broadly about what you can give, no matter what your station in life, chances are you're going to uh, be successful in developing a network for yourself. And lastly, find a higher purpose.
mm,
Something that affects people's interests and their effectiveness at networking is a primary purpose that they have in mind when they do it anyway. Any work activity becomes more attractive when it's linked to a higher goal. So frame your network in terms of achieving that higher goal. And
wow.
that's what I had for you. There's another URL for you there. It's a Harvard Business Review article that talks about learning to love networking that I certainly uh, offer up for your consideration.
Roland, there has been so many chats, so much chatter in the chat box. Paul asks, how can one know whether their network has been expanded enough? By that, he means, can someone's network ever be wide enough, or is this a lifelong activity?
I would say it's a lifelong activity.
Absolutely.
It gets saturated, and but it never gets super saturated, because as time goes on, people drop off. You may drop off of someone's network, and others may drop off of your network for a variety of reasons. I would not be concerned about that.
Mhm.
It is a lifelong activity. I continue to add to my network. I teach, and every course that I teach, excuse me, is an
Mhm.
opportunity for me to expand my network, and
Absolutely.
hopefully to expand the network of my students as well.
Mhm.
That's one of the things that I know I benefit from greatly, uh, by exposing myself to students in an educational setting, and I know too that I am getting information from them. I'm
I
gaining
know.
things from them that they aren't even often they are. I shouldn't say this categorically, but oftentimes they aren't aware of the fact that they're teaching me. I'm
Yes.
learning from them. So
There's an exchange.
it's a lifelong experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Roland, I can't wait to watch this again. I mean, you said so much in this webinar.
yeah. Well, here's my final thought. You know, many, if not most of us, are ambivalent about networking. We know that it's critical to our professional success, yet we find it taxing and we oftentimes find it distasteful. But the strategies that I offered on that previous slide can help you to overcome your aversion to networking. And I go to my final blank slide, Kim, and it's yours.
You know me, I can't stop talking. So let me see. I think there's just so much in this chat. You know what? I might save the chat and send it out as well. There's a lot of people who have put themselves out here
Mhm.
in the chat, so I think that would be a nice thing. Um, Donna says she is vulnerable and she's taking risks and she just keeps trusting herself.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's just all about relationships, right? It's everything in life is about relationships.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um, you shared my email address on that one of those earlier slides,
Mm-hmm.
and I certainly want to say to those who are here and anyone else who may happen to listen to this recording when you send it out, that feel free to reach out to contact me to chat, to think a little, help to allow me to help you think a little more deeply about how you can use the information that I've tried to share here. I'm always available.
And Dr. Roland is also available at most ISODC events, right?
That's true. Please join us.
Yes. Could you let's just hit the last few slides, Roland. I do want to give a shout out to the Eastern Michigan University Master of Science in HR and OD. It's where I teach full time, and it really is a great program. They have certificates as well, and I just want to give them a shout out. If you look, it's completely online, so you can look, you can take classes online or in person. And thanks to COVID, there's no GRE or GMAT required. So there can be one good thing about COVID, right? So yeah, so if we could go to the next one, Roland. Here are some additional resources. Of course, our LinkedIn group is very active, the ISODC LinkedIn group, so you can check that out. We also have a culture change and leadership group. You can check that out as well. I'm a member of like 40 LinkedIn organizations. So, I mean, that might be too much, but I'm very active in LinkedIn, and I think I want to encourage you to as well. Could you go to the next one, Roland? And then this is going to be our next webinar next month on Thursday, February 18th. John Quinlan, he is a former CEO and he is a top coach and consultant now. And he's going to talk to us about how to be a better leader, right? In this book, I gave some input on, and I had the privilege of writing the foreword to this book. So I'm really excited to have him come on next month and encourage you to sign up for that webinar as well. You can sign up if you go to isodc.org under upcoming events. All of our upcoming webinars are there, as well as our next certificate in cultural competence. There's an advertisement for that as well. And then the next one, I just really want to thank you, Roland. I mean, every time you speak, you so many gems come out of your mouth. And I could listen to you all day. I couldn't even give you the time thing because I just didn't want to interrupt you. So thank you so much for being with us today.
My
And I
pleasure.
can't wait to listen to it again on replay. I want to thank everyone for joining us. There were some friends from Hawaii who joined later, so I want to give them a shout out. Again, a link will go out within the next day or two with the slides, with Roland's article. I'll also create the chat. So a file for that and send that out as well. I want to encourage you to take a minute to reach out to someone today. Do a little networking for someone that's been on your mind.
Good,
I
by
know
all
that
means.
will make you feel better and it will make them feel better as well. Thank you, everyone. Bye, Roland. Bye,
Bye-bye.
Donna. Bye, Dotan. Have a great day.
Yep. Thank you.